Hey guys, Cookie here for Swanee Plays Games. We got lots of news and stuff to talk about today, so I just had to run out a new video for you all. In today's video, I'll be discussing the new Mech-inspired major order that came out today, go over all the complaints that have been flooding in from the fanbase over the latest patch, and the drama that came from multiple developers within Arrowhead in the past 24 hours. But first, I'm going to talk about the new Warbond trailer that was just released. Earlier today, PlayStation released a trailer detailing what is coming in the next Warbond update, which is called Cutting Edge. I'm going to break down everything we see in this trailer and give my quick 2 cents about them as well. First off, we have 3 new armor sets that can be unlocked. The trailer doesn't say what the sets will be called, but in a blog post by PlayStation, it does. The blog provides a quick summary of each of the 3 armor sets as well, starting with the XO3 Prototype 3, which says it includes a rubber underlayer for insulation. Handy, really, as these prototypes' wires operate at a shocking 400,000 volts. Then the EX16 Prototype 16, which just says warning, electric arc generates a strong magnetic field, avoid using while near stapled paperwork. And the EX00 Prototype X, which says that it's the end result of several billion super credits and 12 years of research into creating the soldier of tomorrow. Show us it was worth it. I'm not sure which description goes to which armor, but they all look pretty cool. But much like the first Warbond, they all have the same color scheme, which is more green and tan this time, instead of black with gold trim, sort of more desert inspired. I'm not a huge fan of the similar color schemes, but they may not want people to stand out too much. There are also 3 new primary weapons that will be in this new update, and the trailer showed some gameplay of those weapons too, to give us a better idea of what they do. Let's start with the LAS-16 Sickle. The description in the blog post says that it's a sweet laser rifle that fires in short bursts and it doesn't need reloading. Just watch for overheating or shove a new heat sink in there. So this gun looks pretty epic to me because just like the LAS-5 Scythe, it won't require reloading, but unlike the Scythe, can shoot like a machine gun, which sounds really cool. And by the looks of the trailer, there's a few different shooting modes too. As quick as ammo goes out, ammo-less weapons are that much more necessary in the game. There's also 2 new shotguns, starting with the SG-8P Punisher Plasma. It says exploding plasma rounds sound deadly, because they are, to aliens and allies. This modified Punisher shotgun is as fun as it is fearsome. This gun is probably the most unique in my opinion of all the new weapons. It's basically an energy grenade launcher, but it's also a primary weapon and not a stratagem that you call in. Also, like it says in the description, you definitely want to be careful around allies. And lastly is the other shotgun, the ARC-12 Blitzer. The description says project an arc of close range lightning or charge it up to fire off powerful bolts. Good for taking out multiple targets and giving you more time to pick a celebration emote. Again, this is another weapon that has multiple ways to shoot it, but it sounds like the results of how you choose to use it are very unique, so this gun could be like multiple guns in one. If the lightning in this gun is anything like the Plas 1 Scorcher, it's going to be a very good gun. There's also a new secondary weapon called the LAS-7 Dagger Pistol, which looks like a mini version of the Scythe, shooting a tinier laser beam. Overall, great to see them adding new secondary weapons because that's definitely needed right now. And lastly, as far as weapons are concerned, they introduced the new G23 Stun Grenade, which is an EMP grenade, which obviously stuns the enemy. And lastly, they also showed off some new capes, which don't look too significantly different, but hey, everybody loves capes. Overall, it's always cool to see new content, and these Warbonds are a different plan to keep the game interesting for players to keep coming back to. Beyond the trailer, there was other big news released today. There is a new major order for all Helldivers going on right now. This order is much more interesting than past major orders because this one seems to be pretty clearly linked to a new update that has been promised for a few weeks now. That update is about mechs being introduced into the game. The order says that we must liberate the planet of Tien Quan because this is where the new line of combat exosuits are being created, and we can't let this fall into the automaton's hands. The order still has well over 2 days to be completed, and as of writing this, the player base has already liberated 57% of the planet, and by the time you watch it, it's probably much more than that. So the odds are very good that it will be completed without a problem. The expectation is that this will unlock the ability to use exosuits in future Helldives, which is what everyone is eagerly anticipating. There have been a lot of gameplay of the mechs that has been released all over the internet, so we know they're going to be coming, along with potentially other new vehicles that also have had some video released of them. It's not so much a matter of of whether the major order and the coming Mech update are linked, but more a question of how closely. Will they release it immediately after the major order is completed, or wait a little longer? And I can't help but wonder what would happen if the planet was not liberated. Would the automatons get the mechs and have a new weapon to kill us with? Like I said, it's already over halfway liberated, so that won't happen, but that would be very interesting to find out. There is also a possibility that Arrowhead is trolling the player base, but I would think that would be a very foolish business move because there's enough issues that they're having at this moment with the player base, which is the last topic I would like to go over. So let's jump into the drama that has just avalanched since the release of the most recent patch by Arrowhead Studios. There has been an epic amount of backlash with players very unhappy about what they believe to be excessive nerfs, which have made the playing field very unbalanced and some say even impossible to play with at the moment. As highlighted yesterday in our video, two of the community's favorite guns, the railgun and the breaker shotgun, were nerfed heavily. Players have gone on to argue that those guns needed to be that strong because the enemies are just impossible to kill otherwise, and those guns were the only ways they were able to fight against enemies like chargers and bile titans, especially at the higher levels from 7 to 9 where enemies are incredibly strong. Some have said that you basically just run and hide and wait for your stratagems to reload, which is obviously not very fun. The armor was also supposed to be fixed in this latest update, and there have been many in the community pointing that out to also be inadequate because the heavy armor's positives of being able to take a couple extra shots is nothing compared to the ability to run away faster that the other armor possesses. Just recently on the Discord, it was announced that they are looking into the areas of enemy spawn and spawn rates as well as enemy armor to keep giant hordes of them from appearing at the same time. So they are already working on that for a future patch, hopefully. The surprise for me is that the severity of the backlash, which we have even come under fire for ourselves just for reporting on the patch and agreeing with most of it in our last video. On one hand, the passion of the fanbase is a major positive, but also has a dark side to it that Arrowhead may want to handle better in the future. I say this because some of the developers did not react in the best way to the backlash. Some of them added fuel to the fire and even antagonized some players. It got to the point that the CEO of Arrowhead had to respond to multiple Reddit posts saying that he is, quote, extremely disappointed and that it is, quote, an inexcusable behavior. He also said in another comment that he encourages devs to interact with fans of the game, but understands that this is the negative side of doing that and that it is something they will continue to monitor moving forward. Ultimately, I fall somewhere in between, understanding where players are coming from, but also understanding why the devs want to try to keep it as balanced as possible. Hopefully, between two sets of opinions, we will find our place in the middle, and the game will be better for it. So yeah, that was a lot to go over. I hope you guys feel informed about what's been happening in Helldivers 2 over the last 24 hours. Make sure to subscribe with us to keep yourself in the know, and hit the bell for notifications, as well as dropping us a like because it always helps, and we shall see you guys in the next video.